Greenwood Park was known as a peaceful sanctuary during the day, but as the sun set, its tranquility gave way to a lurking darkness that only few dared to explore. I was one of those daredevils, drawn by the promise of adventure and the thrill of the unknown. Little did I know that this night would be etched in my memory as a descent into terror. It was a moonless night, and the park was cloaked in shadows. I wandered through the narrow pathways, the sound of rustling leaves underfoot, and the distant chirping of crickets, the only company I had. The park felt eerily empty, like a forgotten realm where time had stood still. As I ventured further into the heart of Greenwood Park, I became aware of a strange sensation, a prickling at the back of my neck, a creeping unease that refused to be ignored. I brushed it off as my imagination running wild in the darkness, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. I reached a small clearing where an ancient oak tree stood like a sentinel. Its gnarled branches reached out like skeletal fingers, and I couldn't help but feel a sense of foreboding. And then, as if on cue, a gust of wind whispered through the leaves, a haunting melody that sent shivers down my spine. I tried to shake off the unease and continued on my path, but the feeling of being watched persisted. Every shadow seemed to hold a hidden threat, every rustling leaf a potential danger. And then I saw it, a figure standing at the edge of the clearing, its form shrouded in darkness. I couldn't make out any details, but I could feel its eyes on me, cold and unrelenting. "Who's there?" I called out, my voice trembling. There was no response, just the sound of the wind rustling through the leaves. I took a cautious step forward, my heart pounding in my chest. The figure remained motionless, like a specter from a nightmare. I reached for my phone and turned on the flashlight, aiming it at the figure. What I saw froze me in my tracks. It was a girl, no older than a teenager, her face pale and gaunt, her eyes vacant and lifeless. She wore a tattered white dress, and her feet were bare, covered in dirt and grime. "Are you okay?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. The girl didn't respond, didn't acknowledge my presence. She simply stared at me with empty eyes, her expression devoid of emotion. I took a cautious step closer, my heart aching with concern. "Do you need help? Are you lost?" And then, without warning, the girl let out a blood-curdling scream that shattered the silence of the night. It was a scream of pure terror, a sound that chilled me to the bone. I stumbled back in shock, my heart racing. The girl's scream echoed through the park, sending a shockwave of fear through me. I turned and ran, my footsteps echoing in the darkness, desperate to escape the nightmare that had unfolded before me. But the horrors of that night were not over. As I ran through the park, I heard the sound of footsteps behind me, the soft padding of feet on the leaf-covered ground. I glanced over my shoulder, my heart pounding, but there was no one there. I quickened my pace, my breath coming in ragged gasps, but the footsteps followed me, growing louder and closer. I could feel a presence behind me, a malevolent force that seemed to draw nearer with each passing moment. I reached the park's entrance and burst out into the open, my chest heaving, my mind racing. I didn't stop running until I had put several blocks between myself and Greenwood Park. I never returned to that park, and I never spoke of the horrors I had witnessed that night. The experience had left me shaken, forever changed by the knowledge that there are places in this world where the boundary between the living and the dead is thin, and where the darkness holds secrets that should never be uncovered,